My name is Ann Treadway. As Vice President, I welcome you to the League of Women Voters 2025 Candidate Forum for the election to be held April 1. And a special welcome to our candidates, and thank you very much for your participation. This is our last forum for the day. It is for the Wilmette Park District, where 6 candidates are running to fill 3 spots. This forum concludes at 1 p.m. We already had 2 forums. If you did not attend those in person, you can look for recordings on the Village of Wilmette website or on the League of Women Voters website in a couple of days. Where candidates are running uncontested, the League does not do a live forum, but information about all of the candidates can be found on the League's webpage at www.lwvwilmette.org. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization devoted to the protection of representative government. I am proud to report that our Wilmette group is celebrating its 100th year. Among other things, we register voters and provide voter education events such as this to the community. We also advocate for certain positions, again, on a nonpartisan basis. If you are interested in joining the League, and we hope you are, please visit our website and check our membership page or leave your name on the sign-up sheet outside. At any League forum, we strive to maintain a respectful and nonpartisan atmosphere. We ask audience members to remove political buttons and not to clap or boo. We are here to learn about the candidates, not to advocate. Audience members will have an opportunity to ask questions through our usual system, which our moderator will explain. It involves writing your questions on index cards, but she will explain how to do that. And now I would like to introduce our moderator for this forum. I wish to note that under League rules, the moderator must reside outside of the election district that is the subject of the forum. Lisa Slankard, to my left, is from the League of Women Voters, Arlington Heights area. We thank her sincerely for agreeing to moderate our forum this morning, and she did the one just prior. She has served on the board of her local league for 4 years as the Director of Voter Services. She has participated in dozens of forums and has been a moderator for 6 years. Currently, Lisa serves as the local league representative to the Cook County League's Board of Directors and serves on their Voter Services Committee. Lisa will cover the ground rules of the forum. Thank you again for attending. Lisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, candidates and audience members. My name is Lisa Slankard, and I'm a member of the Arlington Heights League, therefore living outside the district as per League rules. All of the candidates have agreed to abide by the ground rules provided by the League of Women Voters. They are as follows. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement, given in alphabetical order by last name. The candidates will have 90 seconds to respond to questions, and closing statements will be 90 seconds, given in reverse order from the opening statements. We've made a slight change in the alphabet today, and to make it easier for Nancy Johnson, we've moved her closer to me, so assume her name starts with an A, and then we're just doing fine.
Thank you.
Candidates are not allowed to use visual aids, a computer, phone, or any device that connects to the internet or has texting capabilities during this forum. League members will act as timers. Timers, please raise your hands. They will give a 1-minute warning and a 30-second warning. Candidates, at the stop sign, please quickly complete your sentence. Audience questions will be written on index cards provided by the League. League question collectors, please raise your hands. Audience, please get your index cards from them. They will also collect the questions, and questions must be directed to all candidates, and questions will be reviewed for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. Several prepared questions have been selected by the League to start things off. None of the candidates have been provided questions beforehand. Candidates are asked not to interrupt one another. I will repeat a question if you ask me. The forum is being videoed to be used by the League to educate the public. The League will post a link to the unedited video on its website after the forum. Candidates have agreed to this. Please hold all of your applause until the end, and please do not demonstrate in any way to show support or non-support of a candidate. There is space outside of the room to speak with the candidates after the forum. Audience, please turn off all electronic devices. Okay, let's begin. So the opening statements will begin with Nancy Johnson. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Nancy Johnson, and I am number 5 on the ballot. I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I lived a few blocks from Washington Park. In winter, I skated on the lagoons, and I took my sled to the highest hill. In the summer, I went to the zoo, ran up and down the stairs of the bandshell, and roller skated on the paths. I am a lifetime park goer. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin. I have a Master of Arts in Teaching from Northwestern. I'm a licensed Illinois realtor, and I also manage property for my clients. I moved to Wilmette 47 years ago because I wanted to live closer to the lake. We didn't live near the lake in Milwaukee. And I especially love Gilson and South Beach. I also like my neighborhood park, Batman, and I try to walk there every day. My real estate experience and my love of the parks qualify me. And the board's decision to fence Gilson motivates me to be on the ballot. I would work to improve communication between the board and the people, and to improve communication to provide more transparency for decisions. I'm number 5 on the ballot. Nancy Johnson, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Duffy?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. It's a great opportunity for the members of our community to get to know the candidates and understand our views. I'd also like to thank everybody in attendance today, in particular for devoting a big part of your day to this process. I am Patrick Duffy. I'm running for commissioner of the Wilmette Park Boards. My wife and I have lived in Wilmette for 21 years. We've raised 2 daughters and are active participants and supporters of the parks and its programs. Like many residents, we came for the schools and were amazed by the parks. I've been a volunteer in our community for many years, from leading our Daughters Adventure Guides program to serving on Wilmette Zoning Board of Appeals for 10 years, the last 4 of which I was its chairman. Additionally, I was instrumental in the creation of a park where Elmwood Avenue meets the lake. As many of you know, this park is called Elmwood Dunes Preserve. For the last 4 years, I've served the community on the park board, the last 2 as its vice president. We've accomplished quite a lot in 4 years on the board. Landscape plans for all of our parks, strategic and comprehensive plans, a sustainability plan, as well as the capital projects at our lakefront parks, expansion of the paddleball facility, adding pickleball courts to the community playfields, planting over 200 trees, and many smaller capital projects, all without asking Wilmette residents for new tax dollars. I would like to continue serving the community in this capacity as we have many challenges ahead of us. If reelected, I will continue to work as a steward of the robust services and facilities our residents and those we serve have come to enjoy. Thank you again. I'm Patrick Duffy.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier?
Thank you. I am Allie Frazier, and I want to begin by thanking the League of Women Voters for hosting today's forum and everyone here or tuning in to learn more about this important election. I'm running again for the Wilmette Park Board because I'm deeply passionate about our mission and guiding principles, which make our parks an essential part of this community. Over the past 4 years, I've worked alongside my fellow commissioners to navigate challenges and make meaningful progress. I'm proud of the work we've done to serve our community, and there is more work yet to be done. And I'd like to tell you why I am the right person to continue this work. I am a mom of 5 kids, ages 2 through 13, and the daughter of a Wilmette resident. My family is at a park or a facility of Wilmette Park Districts upwards of 5 times a day. I know firsthand what works, what doesn't, and what we need to improve. I am the only current board member and candidate with children under the age of 10 actively involved in our programs every day. No one else brings that level of personal experience, the day-to-day insight into how our parks and programs impact young families, combined with the institutional knowledge I've gained by serving as your commissioner for the past 4 years. I don't just understand the needs of families from a policy standpoint, I live them. And I bring that understanding to every decision I make. As we look to the next 4 years, I am more committed than ever to ensuring that our parks continue to serve everyone. I will work to represent the voices that are often less heard at meetings, those who are unaware of a survey or discouraged by the lack of civility we too often see. I humbly ask for your support in re-electing me to the Wilmette Park Board. I am Allison Frazier, number 2 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowskis?
Thank you. Thank you to the League for hosting this and encouraging civil discourse among our candidates. Thank you all for attending. I am Kara Kozlowskis, a current commissioner, and I've been the Park Board President for the past 2 years. As a working mom, the Park District is an essential part of our lives. For nearly 14 years, my family has enjoyed Wilmette Park District facilities, including the first 8 years as a non-resident, prompting us to move here. This diverse breadth of firsthand experience makes me an informed commissioner. My professional background makes me a qualified commissioner. I've worked in corporate strategy, finance, and strategic operations, most recently as an executive in facility management. This experience equips me to dive deep into budgets and financial reviews and prompted me to advocate for our district's first ever strategic and comprehensive plans. Some additional accomplishments we've are proud of from this term. Commissioner Duffy has already mentioned several of them. I will add the 1 mile fitness path in the community playfields, the renovated Lakeview Center, and our district upgrading to a AAA bond rating, which we've been able to maintain. My highest priorities in the upcoming years are hiring our next executive director, continuity for the major projects and the sustainability progress underway, and strengthening community trust. As your commissioner, I represent 28,000 residents of Wilmette, not my own agenda. I am committed to listening to diverse perspectives, seeking out best practices, and working towards consensus. I believe respectful disagreement leads to better decision-making, and I am committed to achieving outcomes that will benefit the entire of our community for the long term. I am Kara Kozlowskis. I will be number 3 on the ballot, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley, please.
Hi. Thank you to everyone here today from the League of Women Voters for organizing the event, those in attendance, and the fellow candidates. My name is Paul McKinley, and I am happy to be running for Park Board Commissioner. My wife, Sarah, and I have been residents here in Wilmette for 8 years, and we are excited to have recently added a new family member in future Wilmette Park District patron Charlie a few weeks ago. Earlier in my life, after having enjoyed being a level 1 ski instructor and a volunteer football coach, I returned to school and earned a master's in educational curriculum and instruction. After spending some time as a student teacher at a middle school in Colorado, I took the obvious next step of going into asset-based finance. And much respect to middle school teachers out there. The last 10 years of my life have been spent working as an equity trader, 9 of which were downtown, but more recently from home, which has allowed me more time to attend park board meetings. I started attending park board meetings after the changes at South Beach last summer. During these meetings and after talking to other attendees, I think there are a number of areas where I can use the financial and educational skills I've gained to contribute to the park board. First, I'd like to use a consistent use of resident and patron feedback. I think all decisions should be made using survey results and feedback as a backdrop. I'd also like to limit debt and financial risk. My asset-based finance career was largely in short-term cash flow. Much of the park board's revenues come from recreation fees, which is great, but it also leaves us a little more susceptible to short-term risk. And the third issue that I'd like to address is making sure we're accountable for our actions. I believe separate committees lead to different commissioners taking ownership of individual issues, which will be a step towards taking ownership of addressing problems as they arise. What I have seen from attending meetings are a number of passionate attendees with many great ideas for our park system. I hope to have a chance to work with you as a park board commissioner.
Thank you. Candidate Royal?
I'm Anastasia Royal, and I'm number 4 on the ballot. Thanks to everyone for sticking around and other people for coming. That's so lovely. And thank you to the League of Women Voters. It's an institution that I've always deeply admired. So thank you so much for doing this, and to all the candidates. I'm here today because a line has been crossed by the current Wilmette Park District. I'm a product of the North Shore. I come from a very large family. I graduated from New Trier. I've lived here for well over 50 years, most of those as a Wilmette resident. I owe a lot to this beautiful, tree-lined village. I raised my children here. I took them to the parks, the beach, and they participated in some great programs. Now I have grandchildren, and I can do the same things with them. I've seen Wilmette grow and evolve. So it saddens me because this wonderful community has always been here for me, and I owe a lot to it. I'm very invested in it, and so it saddens me to have to raise my voice in passionate ways, but that time has come. This past summer, I spoke out against the Wilmette Park District's gross mismanagement and flagrant disregard of our community. I've seen many good park boards. I've been here a long time, and sadly, I know they've done good things, but a lot of their handlings of specific issues that I'm sure we'll get into today, it was not their finest hour. At the meeting, there were over 3 hours of public comment by fellow residents of Wilmette. Those eloquent people were enraged and engaged. They inspired me greatly, and because of them, I choose to get more deeply involved. I've accomplished many things in my life, and I hope I get your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with the questions now. The first question will be answered by candidate Duffy. And the question is, the Wilmette Park District is conducting a search for a new executive director. In your opinion, what qualities and areas of expertise are most important for the candidates for this role?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. I'm sorry, Nancy. We're just starting this search, and some of the really important qualities for me is financial acumen. We are in a point where we've just finished some major capital projects, and our reserves are approaching the minimum threshold that we've set. So we need some financial responsibility from this new executive director. Secondarily, we need to have a great public outreach as we move forward with some of the big projects that are ahead of us, or possible projects. We've recently purchased land on the west side of town at Beth Hillel's congregation. This is a 5-acre parcel. It's very rare that we have the opportunity to acquire something that large in a very mature community. So this is going to start a public process to determine what happens there. So I think these are the two main qualities that I would be seeking in a new executive director. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier?
Thank you. How fortunate are we to live here? I think that every single day. How fortunate are we to have moved to a community of hardworking, well-educated, like-minded in their passionate feelings about our community, where we live, and how we run it. And when I think about the qualities of an executive director that I believe he or she must have, It comes down to being a candid communicator, someone who is innovative and aspirational in his or her leadership style, someone with a certain financial prowess to tackle our impressive and yet complicated budget, effective project management and executive functioning skills to take on our daily operations and capital planning. And as we live in a day and an age where immediate gratification is granted to us in everything we do, someone with the ability to tell us no sometimes, and that's hard to hear. Something that I need to remind myself of, and that is often needed to be reminded of, is that the executive director and not the board is primarily responsible for the day-to-day operations of the organization. I want to improve and enhance the communication that goes out to our community via our staff, and let us be the elected representatives that are your voice to help with that communication from a top-down perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowskis?
That was very well said, so I'm not going to repeat too much of that. This is important work. Finding an executive director is one of the greatest reasons why I determined that I would run again to seek re-election and continue the work that we've begun. I do have experience with executive level national searches, and I think I will add value. I've already begun leading the board through quickly hiring the interim, and we've begun the process of hiring the search firm for the permanent director. The new director is going to shape the culture, the staff, and the community for hopefully a good chunk of time to come. I'm looking for someone that has vision, someone that can take the vision that we have put into our plan to be leaders in achieving parks and recreation operational excellence and run with that to implement the strategic plan that the community has developed this past year. A leader who's desiring to innovate so that Wilmette will lead, not follow other park districts. A leader that will listen to and build trust with the community, that will be respected by our community, and with a track record of intergovernmental cooperation. I also look for a director that will be able to train and develop the staff, build a culture of teamwork, and increase retention in our district. As Candidate Duffy said, it's important that this person has a strong understanding of municipal finance and budgets, and an eye on sustainability and continuing the green improvements that we've laid out. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley?
I agree with much of what has been said. In addition, Wilmette, it is a very big job. Wilmette Park District employs up to 1,300 employees over the summer. I believe that is Wilmette's largest employer over that time period. Something that has been missing from over the last number of years, there have been numerous issues without clear explanations related to high staff turnover. Since 2022, we have seen the departure of 9 manager-level staff members between May of 2023 and May of 2024. Looking further back, only 2 of 9 administrative staff members from 2020 remain. A third-party review of hiring and promotional practices was conducted, but the findings have not been made public. A June 2024 article from the Record quoted employees as saying morale had worsened since the investigation. Without transparency, we've been left in the dark as to what has happened. We need communication with our executive director, and we need to have board input so we can nip these problems in the bud. As we know, there's a lawsuit pending right now. It's a $5 million lawsuit. Could this lawsuit have been prevented if we had confronted this morale problem earlier on? Again, the job is very large. We need to take a serious look at who the next executive director will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Royal?
Yes, I think it's very important, everything that has been said, and I won't add to any of that. I agree with much of it. I would like to say that what the executive director and the commissioners should not be doing, and I think, first of all, I'll say that I think there is a tradition of fiscal responsibility in this community and this board, this current board, which is wonderful, and that should be continued. But not listening to the community input before making decisions is something they should not do. Not hiring a volunteer who has admitted to looking at child erotica on Park District equipment as detailed by the online magazine, The Recorder, and I encourage all of you to read that article, turning a blind eye to that and letting him be a volunteer and letting him be at the block party in Wilmette. As a mother and a grandmother, I find this unacceptable, and I think each member of the board, the current board, should step down because of just this, not to mention the handling of Gilson Park, which has made Wilmette a very unwelcoming place immediately. And this is 100 years of free and open access to the crown jewel and the most beautiful meditative space on the North Shore. There are very few unfettered places in this area. That was one of them, and they have ruined it. For those two reasons alone, I am running for commissioner as a performer and as an artist and as a teacher of children, piano and vocal training.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson.
Well, this is a very important question, and I know that there is a search firm that is working on this, and you will choose a search firm. Certainly you want someone with experience, someone who is honorable, someone who is personable to attract people to work with the public, and someone who has already had management experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will be started with candidate Frazier. Do you support making a portion of the Gilson Park lakefront open to the public regardless of ability to pay? And why did you answer it that way?
Thank you very much for the question. I wish that our meeting had been audio and visually recorded, and that is something that we are working on. The meeting that we just had on Monday evening, our committee of the whole meeting, because we discussed this topic at length. And one of the things that came out of that meeting, in particular, was great discourse. You were able to, those who attended, and if you have a chance, please listen to the audio of it, to listen to commissioners ask questions of our staff, a staff that brought to us a draft plan that shows a lot of compromise based on 4 different principles: safety and patron of staff, preservation of natural views, access to the beach and water for everyone, and a cost-effective experience. I am pleased to say that we were able to address, in regards to the question you asked, as far as the cost-effective measure, we are working to allow children under a certain age to be free, something that I stated in my candidates questionnaire that I would love to see make happen for our families. I would also like to make seniors age 55 and older free to our beach. Currently, there's a senior pass available for $35. This is not a revenue generating source of income for us. I would prefer us to have this be a free offering for the seniors in our community, especially those on fixed income. In addition, we tried to make group rates available. And so we're working on these issues slowly. I ask for your patience as we work through the draft. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowskis.
Thank you. I will say regarding South Beach that as a district, we could have done better last summer, especially with communication and looking for community input from the start. And there could have been more forethought into aesthetics had there been more time in planning. There was staff turnover even among our lakefront last summer that necessitated or that prompted the discussions and the evolution of the changes that we've experienced. As candidate Frazier mentioned, there was a very healthy discussion on Monday at our most recent meeting. The goals, as she stated, I won't repeat. And the first draft, it was a draft that staff brought to us that is available online for folks to read, but it has already significantly been iterated. And we left the meeting Monday with some direct feedback for staff to continue thinking about, notably looking for more opportunity for passive use for those that don't want to swim or pay but might want to be there for a short period of time. We directed staff to look further into opportunities for creating that space and looking harder into affordability. Many of the individuals that attended our meeting to provide feedback didn't stay until the end of the meeting to hear the board discussion. But one point that I think is really important, I think a creative idea that I've suggested is we can put free passes to the beach in all of our neighboring libraries. Just like you can borrow a pass to visit a museum, we could allow people to borrow passes to come to our beach free of charge to remove any affordability barriers. That's
you.
one small way I'd like to help that situation. Thank you.
Candidate McKinley.
My short answer is yes. I've long thought Gilson represents the heart of our community. For many families, it serves as a school over the summer. It serves as a church where people can find solace. And it serves as a public house where people can take in the scenery and conversate in the place of their choosing. Scientific studies back up the importance of all these aspects. The beach has been open and free for over 100 years. The decision to both visually and physically restrict access to the beach has led to the loss of these functions for many. The 2016 survey showed 83% of residents are satisfied with Gilson Park. The survey asked about 18 different improvements to Gilson. Preserving natural open spaces was the number one answer by a significant margin. The 2023 survey didn't ask the same direct questions, but two largest weaknesses in the Park District were fees/costs were too high, and too developed keeps parks natural. The fencing off of the beach and subsequent fees go directly against what residents have said they've wanted. The board has described the decision to fence off the beach as both a safety issue and a desire for another swimming beach. The timing and specific nature of the safety incidents should have been recorded and presented to the public. Are there safety issues every day of the week? Well, I believe that we need to enforce safety rules and take appropriate measures to do so. I have not seen evidence that this response was necessary before taking less obstructive measures. I believe we need to go back to how the beach was before. A survey should be conducted to show what people want now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Candidate Royal.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree that the beach has been free for over 100 years, and we didn't need anybody to allow us to go to our beach. The village of Wilmette is in an enviable position because they have a large, robust budget for a small population village. We don't need the money. We don't need the beach to be cordoned off to people. Who are we trying to keep out? Ask yourself that. And the residents in Highland Park have just made an initiative to make it free for their residents. I think it should be free for our residents, completely free. And I think there should be bikers that are allowed to get in for free and walkers that are allowed to get in for free. And I also want to ask anybody who wants to run for this, city, what about the parks don't you understand? The word park. All over the world, people are able to go to a place where they don't have to buy anything and they can hang out and have public spaces. We're all quite lonely in this United States of America, and we need to have those spaces that are not commodified and that are not opportunistically just decided by executive directors or boards what we're supposed to do in these public spaces. It's our right, and it's been that way for 200 years. Our ancestors would be shocked.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson.
I think the fence should not go up again. I think it should be open and free to everyone, the way it has been for all these years. So it shouldn't have an age group that should get a free entry. It should be free and open to all. Thank you.
Candidate Duffy.
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
Certainly. Do you support making a portion of the Gilson Park lakefront open to the public regardless of ability to pay?
Yes. I advocated for that in the last few meetings, challenging staff to come up with a way to balance access and yet provide a swimming area that is safe for the public. And they've come back to us with some ideas. Commissioner Kozlowskis had come up with a nice idea to make it easier to access the beach at a free rate. So we're working on a solution for this. And I believe we will get there. Additionally, the fence that was put up this last year, the plan that has been proposed, you will not see that along the drive right now. So there won't be this impactful fence like it was so dramatic last year. But ultimately, the staff and the board is working together with public feedback that we've all received to to try and accomplish the goals that we've heard from everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will begin with candidate Kozlowskis. How will you work with other board members in the community, especially those you disagree with, to drive forward solutions and improvements for the district?
That's a great question. Cooperation and mutual respect is so important. And this has been a really hard few years to be a commissioner. It's hard to have people shouting at you, accusing you of evil motives when you're trying to make decisions that you think are the very best that you can make for our community. So I didn't come into this job thinking it would be this way. I've had to learn to develop some pretty thick skin in the face of vitriol that I didn't expect. There are great people working in other agencies in our village as well, and cooperating with them has to be paramount. I've heard animosity or mistrust from one board to the next. That doesn't serve the community. Every decision I have faced and continue to evaluate, I think about how does it serve the neighbors. When I stare out my picture window and I think at all the houses in front of me, I say, what would they think of this decision? How does this serve the person that's not following the ins and outs of what we are? And we need a better look. I'm so glad that civility is going to become a topic in intergovernmental meetings this coming year, because we can do better as a village. I'm not sure if I remember the question completely.
Do you want me to reread it?
Would you mind?
How will you work with other board members in the community, especially those you disagree with, to drive forward solutions and improvements?
Thank you so much. Yes, I would continue what I've done, which is always being willing to listen, to consider all sides of a position before we make better decisions when we disagree, and we work through that. And so that's my approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley.
You know, I think it's difficult because people often come to these meetings only to complain, correct? You know, it's the same reason people leave a restaurant review. It's not usually do they want to say it was great. They often want to say what was wrong. And, you know, I think it's important, you know, that's kind of what I ended up doing because I first came when I was upset about the beach. But during my time, you know, I think everybody is doing their best to promote their best version of the park. And that's the commissioners, the attendees, and everyone here. I think disagreeing is a good thing. We have to disagree to come up with the best answers possible. Working with the community, I need to listen to people I disagree with because I'll learn from you. And hopefully we can have discussions where we learn from each other. You know, and this goes back to using, I think every decision we have should come from a basis of using resident feedback. When we have survey results, we should describe what those results are. And we should say, if there's going to be times that we have to go against, you know, the survey results, maybe there are safety concerns, or maybe we have to promote some minority views that are more critically important. But we can use those numbers to increase transparency by describing why. And I think that'll go a long way to cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Royal?
Yes, I think everyone has ideas for the issues in Wilmette, like Gilson, like Beth Hillel, like the dog parks. And I know all the people on the board, the current board, are well-meaning. But I do think that there was a line that was crossed when a fence went up at Gilson in the dead of night behind closed doors. And we had repeatedly over the past decade said we didn't want it. And I do think a line was crossed when the executive director had inappropriate behavior that resulted in a $5.5 million lawsuit against him and the board itself, which they're now doing separately for good reason. And I do think those were the lines that were crossed. And I do think the child erotica problem with one of the people that was a volunteer, a man, I think that was a line that was crossed. And that's why I'm choosing to get involved. And that's why I'm very upset about this. And I think being angry and upset and also getting along with people all go hand in hand, because we all want to have a beautiful town that we live in. This is our home. It's very important to all of us. And I come from a very large family, and I do know how to get along with people. I've had all kinds of projects against the children in cages when that happened a while back. I've done a lot as an advocate for people, and I would really look forward to listening to many people and their ideas.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson?
Before I moved here, I worked at the Walt Disney Magnet School, and it was team teaching. So I think that I know how to work with other members of a board. But the biggest thing is we have to listen to the community. And I would advocate for surveys to get from the people. I would advocate for town meetings and even a referendum if you need it. Thank you.
Candidate Duffy?
Thank you again. This is a really important topic to discuss right now. And the best way that I can answer this is, I went through a very similar process when I was trying to create Elmwood Dunes Preserve with some other members of the community. And one of the first stumbling blocks that we came across was dialogue with our leaders, whether it was the park board or the village board. And in that process, I learned how to create the dialogue, not necessarily only in a meeting, but by outside of the meeting contacting these leaders, and then understanding the process by which those meetings evolve. There's an agenda that's followed. You need to get out an agenda. You need to be talking to people, and then bringing the community. We had surveys. We had not surveys. We had petitions signed, and we continued to present ideas, solutions, not just say no. So in that process, we were able to convince the village board to create this park. And I thought it was a learning experience for me. And I think that on this side, I'm open to listening, and I try and engage everybody during our meetings at the appropriate time in the meeting. Questions are posed, comes to Gilson, we answer those questions. Questions about Centennial, we answer the questions when we're at the appropriate time in the agenda to answer those questions. And that's not something everybody's used to. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier?
Thank you. I think the one word in this is acknowledgement. I heard listening, I would add that. But acknowledgement, I have 5 children. I said that earlier, but you could imagine my home, ages 2, 5, 10, 10, and 13. There's a lot of disagreement, and acknowledgement brings us to that next level. It enables us to move beyond the current situation and have forward momentum. Something I said in my opening remarks was I try to represent people who are less willing to speak up because they are afraid to engage in atmospheres where civility is lacking. And that saddens me because, to steal from Senta Plunkett, we are a community of neighbors. So there are many times I leave these meetings after having been called terrible names that my children listen to. And I go to the grocery store and I see the same people who have spewed vitriol to me. And that doesn't feel good, but what I will say is I'm here doing the best that I can as a human being, as a mom who came to this with the purest of intentions to help, and acknowledging that there is passion. I hear you, I understand, I want to do a better job by you. So acknowledgement is my answer.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question, which will begin with candidate McKinley. Sorry. Wilmette Park District recently purchased the 4.8-acre Beth Hillel Synagogue property. No plans for the property have been made public at this time, other than the district could eventually use the land as added park space or for a recreational facility. What would be your preferred use of the property? How should the Park District make the decision on what to do with the property?
Well, I think it's not up to me. I think it should be held to a referendum and the public should choose. The Beth Hillel purchase was financed with public debt. There's no facility planned. The excuse was that we needed to move quick on the land. While there is a time and place for moving quick, there wasn't enough evidence in this case that the specific plot serves a critical need. The Park District has a long history of having referendums to ratify capital expenditure purchases, including the golf course in Mallinckrodt. With Beth Hillel, we are borrowing against future revenue. While I agree the purchase should look good in 30 to 40 years, in the short term, it could lead to opportunity costs where we either have to pass on more needed or critical expenditures or issue more debt to accomplish that. An example of opportunity costs, one project I support would be the North Shore Channel Trail. That's in conjunction with the village and the city of Evanston. This project should help fulfill the only interest listed as a high priority need in 2023 survey, which is for more walking and biking trails. A feasibility study was recently completed, but it did not include an estimated cost. If we have an economic downturn, we may have to sit on this unused land while bypassing this opportunity which fulfills a need. So again, yes, I'd like to have a referendum on that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Royal?
Yes, I agree. There's been a long tradition of referendums in Wilmette whenever there was a major capital investment or purchase, that has faced a referendum. And as Paul just mentioned, and I do believe that there is an underserved community that is not always mentioned in Wilmette, and that is the teenagers. And that is also the adults who I heard while I was getting my signatures felt that, well, I don't know anything about the Park District because my kids are older now, and I don't. And I said, well, you're a person too. You also should have some things for you. You should have some events. And I do think that the Park District has 2/3 of their budget for recreation, but the other third is funded by our taxes for the parks. And I do believe that the teenagers could have bonfires, the teenagers, and I know that's going to be very incendiary to say, but pun intended. But I do think that they should be able to do things that we did as children and not be policed all the time. And I teach a lot of teenagers, so I hear from them, and they're just always relegated to the basement looking at their cell phones. This isn't going to end well. So I also do think that adults, we could maybe use the Beth Hillel for some DJs and some dances so we could get together and listen to some great music and community build. I think the board of Wilmette does very, very well community building. And I think the Park District should do better and not just think of it as you have to pay this and pay that. No.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson?
Well, as a realtor, I would have advised not to buy it because it's too close to the expressway. It's very noisy. It has no green space. The building is very old. It would cost a lot of money to fix it up, to make changes. I don't know what the board had in mind for it. And going forward, I would ask the people, either at town hall meetings or on a survey, or have a referendum. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Duffy?
Thank you. This is one of our big topics moving forward. The board decided to purchase Beth Hillel because, as I mentioned earlier, we live in a mature community. The opportunity to purchase a large parcel of land for the benefit of the community in perpetuity was very desirable for us. The opportunity cost today may seem high, but down the road, it may seem like a deal. As an example, when the village ended up buying Howard Park. I think as far as the use, we have no idea on the board what we're going to use that site for because we haven't started the public outreach yet. How that transpires, we will start working through that this year if I'm reelected. And the community will dictate to us how we use that. It could be fields, it could be a facility, who knows, but we will find out. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier?
Thank you. It was during the 2021 Candidates Forum that Village Trustee Kate Jaya and I both made public our desire to form the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee, which I'm so pleased you've heard the results of here today. I, during this candidates forum, would like to propose the idea of a commission or a working group for the purpose of Beth Hillel. That would be formed by residents, led by key staff, potentially involvement with a consultant, to encourage transparency and public engagement. Our capital spending must be driven by community input, and I see no better opportunity other than Beth Hillel to put our actions in motions and start that engagement as soon as possible. Knowing that we likely will have our police operating out of the facility during the construction, this gives us time to be thoughtful and thoroughly engage to come to the right solution for all residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowskis.
This parcel became available to us right on the heels of completing the strategic plan, which included the comprehensive and strategic plans, which incorporated feedback, a higher than typical turnout feedback from our village. One of the strategic items was considering the purchase of any parcels of property over 1 acre for better serving the community in the future. It was very documented and apparent that there is not enough availability for the type of recreational space that the community was requesting. And so that was a long-term goal. It did become available and we did need to act quickly. That said, now that we have this property, we have an incredible opportunity to take a step back and look at 3 key sites together. This is a decision that is going to impact generations down the road, and our assessment from the comprehensive plan also indicates that we have aging facilities at Centennial and the Community Recreation Center. We need to take a step back, look at all 3 in parcel, and have a extensive community input session, hire some master planning experts to say, with all the amenities Wilmette is desiring, what is the best location and use and combination of like things perhaps across those 3 sites? Let's put together a vision. Let's ask the community if they support it, which, yes, will require funding, and that would be the point to probably go to referendum. And if the community is behind that, we budget for that, we plan for that, and we phase it out. This is an amazing opportunity, and I would hate for us to be short-sighted and only think about that site in its isolation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next question will begin with Candidate Royal. Are there any new projects you would like to see the Park Board prioritize, such as an indoor pool, more affordable before and after school and summer camp programs, more pickleball courts, a trail connection between the North Shore Channel Trail and Sheridan Road, or other ideas?
Well, yes, I was recently at Canal Shores, and I was amazed by the path that they had just done along the river there. And so something maybe with the Canal Shores, or I guess I saw it always as sort of the Bermuda Triangle, because I would see it. I didn't know what it was for. And I went there, and there was an American Legion. It was really interesting. But what I want to say is that I think this is a very sophisticated community, and I would love to listen to the community to see what needs to be done in the future and respect that. And I think there's real data that's actually needed, not just experts, because I think there's certain things that a lot of times people voice their opinion, and then the board will get an expert. And I don't think we need those experts, but we also need real data. For instance, if there's going to be, if there's going to be a toilet put up next to the tennis courts, put a clicker on the top, see how many people actually use it, so you don't just have a needless expenditure. Or if you have other things that are happening in the community, you can see like how many dog parks need to be there or there, how many people have dogs in this area. That's very easy to find out. So I would defer to the knowledge of this very sophisticated community to see what the future things would hold for us.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson.
A 2023 survey said that 94% of the residents said they visited Gilson Park in the last year. This is 2023. They would like outdoor trails for hiking, walking, and biking. They would like natural areas for passive recreation. And a fenced-in dog park, tied for the 3rd. I represent an older population, and I would advocate for surveys to decide what to do going forward.
Thank you. Candidate Duffy.
Well, as mentioned before, I think our besides hiring a new executive director, the biggest challenge ahead of us is the Beth Hillel site and what to do with it. We had a survey, a statistically significant survey that was done in 2023 that gave us some direction as to what the residents wanted. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to begin the process of public engagement to see what direction we need to go. Is there a particular project that I would love to see? I don't think it's up to me. I think it's up to the feedback that we received from the residents. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier.
Thank you. I echo candidate Duffy's sentiments regarding the statistically valid survey. That's a tough thing to say because it informed our comprehensive plan, which we've all referenced so many times today. So these plans reflect input from our residents and staff that combine the qualitative and the quantitative information to tell us what's next. So from those plans, what I pulled out to answer your question directly, building and equipment maintenance, we live in an aging village. If you look at our CRC, for example, which I'm in every day, the building had soffits that were crumbling. We need to address our facilities and maintain what we have first before we go out building new things. I want to identify more grant opportunities for specialized projects. That's the fun stuff. That's the OSLOD grant that we just got for Hibbard Park, which is right at the CRC, if you're not familiar with the name of that park. So my boys play baseball. Guess what? We got the Wilmette Baseball Association to kick in $10,000. We're going to have some great new baseball fields. That's the fun work that we get to do, but we can't ignore the building and equipment maintenance that we have. The last thing I would say in your question is revenue generating capital projects. I was thrilled to do some work with a paddle facility. It generates incredible revenue for us. It's a source of gathering in our community. And I look forward to Beth Hillel being a site that after community input, we results in a positive site for everyone in our community.
Thank you. Candidate Kazauskas.
Would you read the question again, please?
Sure. Are there any new projects that you would like to see the park board prioritize, such as an indoor pool, more affordable before and after school and summer camp programs, more pickleball courts, a trail connection between the North Shore Channel Trail and Sheridan Road, or other ideas?
Some of those have been touched on. I'm going to speak to other ideas. I will say, again, priority for Big Tree Lane or the Beth Hillel property will be one of our highest priorities in the upcoming years. And there will likely be a feasibility study as a part of that to investigate an indoor pool. That's also already in our comprehensive and strategic plans. Something that I am already advocating for the district to pursue that I expect to continue should I be reelected is to pursue something called Distinguished Agency Accreditation. This is through the IAPD, the Illinois Association of Park Districts, which is an extremely organized resource that park districts across our state use to share best practices and advance their districts. I have, through my participation at the annual conference and various board member development programs, I have learned about this. It's similar to a blue ribbon school type certification, which we have a few of in Wilmette and we're proud of. I think this would go a long way towards showing our community that the park district is accountable, transparent, has the policies in place to govern you efficiently and effectively to the highest standards. So that's a way that we can position Wilmette as a leader among park districts, be a source of pride for us in the community, and that is something that is a side project, but an important one, again, that in the spirit of continuous improvement and moving Wilmette forward, I think that would benefit our park district.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley.
Oh, sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
Sure. Are there any new projects that you would like to see the park board prioritize, such as an indoor pool, more affordable before and after school and summer camp programs, more pickleball courts, a trail connection between the North Shore Channel Trail and Sheridan Road, or other ideas?
I think I've already mentioned the North Shore Trail, which I think is a great idea. We can prioritize that as much as we can. I know there's other cities and the village involved. As far as the Beth Hillel property, now that we have it, I would like to make something like that work. I'm always looking for a continuous, improvement. In one way where it's hard to be stationary, right? You're either slightly improving or maybe slightly falling behind, and you want to be pushing forward. That's important. If there's feedback from residents that we can make that property work, such as using an indoor, having an indoor pool, maybe a combined facility with pickleball, I do want to support that. My issue is that we do not have enough evidence to go ahead and purchase that property beforehand without doing the proper planning. And it can leave us in a bad spot financially if we do have a downturn. So yes, again, it goes back to resident feedback. Anything involving walking and biking trails, I'm 100% for. The green sustainability plan is something I'd like to prioritize. I think we can educate people on the benefits of sustainability. Many of these things are actually cost savers. It's not just a environmental issue anymore. So thank you.
Thank you. We're running low on time, so I have a quick one here, and we'll begin with candidate Johnson. Wilmette board members who are absent from board meetings severely disrupts its function. Do you pledge to place the Wilmette Park Board as a high priority and attend all board meetings?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this has become, like an end-of-life experience. I mean, this is what I want is to make the parks the best. I want to go back to the beach and have a free beach. I want to listen to the residents as I never listened to anybody before. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Candidate Duffy.
Well, yes, I think every commissioner on the board now and coming has that intention, and we do our best to attend all the meetings. Certain things that you can be sick, you can have a work trip scheduled that gets in the way of a meeting, because we are volunteers. This is not our job. We have a real income producing jobs, and this is something that we're volunteering to try and do for the community, to make the community the great place, to continue the community in the great place it is to live. So yes is the ultimate answer, but I believe that everybody has that intention.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier.
I think that's very well said. In my personal situation, I showed up to a meeting 9 months pregnant and then 4 weeks postpartum. So I believe that in and of itself shows my dedication to the role.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowski.
Yes, I absolutely agree on the importance and the primacy of attending in person absolutely as much as possible. I will concede our meetings can run long. It is important that we remain engaged, that we rest up, because our job is to listen to the public, and sometimes public comment can take us hours beyond what the agenda might have intended to start out as, and our families might be waiting to be tucked in at night, or they might have to go to bed in my house. But staying till the end, being available as necessary to even go into closed session after meetings, it is a part of the job, and it is important.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley.
You may have to ask my wife watching our 3-week-old. No, I think it's absolutely important that we attend all meetings. The last one did go to 10:30, so they do go late. You need to be there. There's no other option.
Thank you. Candidate Royal.
Yes, I totally agree. I think it's vital to be at the meetings, and even as a citizen, and this summer, I went to practically all of the meetings and had to cancel many of my students, and in Portland, Oregon, which is earlier than us, so I teach very late there, but that was my commitment as a citizen, and so yes, I totally agree with that. And I think that I offer a unique perspective because I think the board currently is only concerned with revenue generating projects, and I think we have a part of this board that has to set policy for the parks, and I will be speaking for the parks and what we have already. And of course, I understand the need to make revenues and to keep this beautiful city running. So I think Wilmette has always been a role model for other communities, and so it's important to go to the meetings to be very well informed and to be up to speed on what is actually being proposed. Like the Guide to Green Sustainability Plan is a very good direction, and I would also like to see bike paths that are lit up, solar charged during the day, and I'd like to see lights on bikes because a lot of times I'm driving very late at night from teaching and or performing, and I don't see bikes. I think that is a real safety issue, actually, not the kind of safety issue of going into the water when you put your toe in and you're yelled at the beach for putting your toe in. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to do closing statements, and we're going to come this way. So we'll start with candidate Royal and then work our way up. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. So I'm glad we covered a lot of these issues today, and I'm very thankful to be able to have my voice heard, and I really do hope that I will be a part of the Park District. I have been a business owner myself. I'm a performer. I'm an artist. I'm a composer. I have done many projects over the course of my very long life and raised two very successful children, and I would be an honor to give back to this community. And in that vein, as a performer, I'd like to sing a song called, it's in Swahili, and I've performed a song every single board meeting, so I might as well do it here. It's very short, and it's about waiting, and it's in Swahili, so. Hambana wezitando siabona bazali. Hambana wezitando siabona bazali. Vayavu amane hezineni makayali. Vayavu amane hezineni makaya hambana mewezitando. So that's a song about waiting, and I'm waiting for your vote. I'm number 4, and I'm Anastasia Royal, and I really appreciate everyone here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Candidate McKinley.
Can Anastasia do my closing statement? Again, I want to thank everyone here. Some people have been here since 9 o'clock, and it's amazing to see that type of commitment in our community. My passion was to start attending meetings that come from South Beach, but it's a very large job, and I'm hoping my educational experience and my finance experience can contribute in multiple facets of the Park District. One of the things I'll have is support, including my wife, doing an amazing job watching our newborn. My parents will be moving here. My dad served as a mayor of his town in Colorado. They're going to be helping. It'll be a tremendous help. And it's going to be everyone here. I've seen the many great ideas presented by the attendees at Park Board meetings, and most of my success in life has not come from my own ideas, but from building ideas with others. I hope you will consider building ideas with me by voting for number 6 this April.
Thank you. Candidate Kozlowskis.
The Park District is the heartbeat of our community. The pace of programming and management of open space does not stop. There is no down season when our 23 parks or 300,000 square feet of indoor facility space are dormant. Nearly 11,000 unique patrons participate in 4,400 sections of activities every year. That's just the quantifiable data, let alone the non-programmed passive use of people that just pass through our parks, which we also represent. Serving on this board is a big job. Commissioners must focus on long-term goals and dig into finances. We also discuss replacement schedules of rooftop units beyond the Bell after-school care and represent Wilmette at legislative breakfasts. Those are 3 examples of my past month that are unrelated to the beach. This next board needs experienced leadership. I have navigated unforeseen challenges and led the board through difficult decisions, and I feel very positive about our future and where the Park District is going. In a critical time of leadership transition within staff, I have institutional knowledge and the breadth of experience to keep the momentum going and onboard our next executive director. Just like your own heartbeat, we need the rhythm of the Park District to remain steady and consistent. I have the experience and the work ethic to continue leading this organization, and I ask for your support in this election. My name is Kara Kozlowskis. I will be the 3rd name on your ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Frazier.
Thank you. I hope 2 themes stood out to you today: representation and institutional knowledge. So please keep those in mind as I finish my closing remarks. As the Wilmette Park District enters its next chapter with the new executive director, I move forward with a clear vision and strong commitment to making the WPD a model of operational excellence environmental stewardship, and fiscal responsibility. Over my 4 years as commissioner, I've gained valuable experience, and through it all, I've remained committed to engaging with our community in a respectful and inclusive way, especially for those who have felt unheard or are unable to attend meetings. I will continue to be transparent, empathetic, and pragmatic, using the knowledge I've gained to serve you all effectively. My experience working with all generations of Park District users makes me uniquely suited to be a voice for everyone. As we move forward, it is essential we have a park board that reflects the needs of every generation, as the decisions we make today will impact our children and future generations. I look forward to hearing from you. I humbly ask for your support. I am Allison Frazier, number 2 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Duffy.
Yes, so thank you, League of Women Voters. Really sincerely appreciate the forum that you provide for us. I also like to thank all the candidates. This is a great opportunity for residents to hear how we feel. I'm going to admit something to you that is not in my written statement here. I am so nervous. I'm shocking myself right now. But I do want to point out that, I love our parks and our outdoor spaces, so much so that I helped create a park in our community. The parks are an important part of our physical and mental health, as has been pointed out today, and they help make Wilmette this wonderful community that we all live in. The Park District is in good financial health right now, but we do have some challenges ahead of us. I want to continue stewarding the exceptional facilities and programs offered to our community. As we look ahead, the board needs to find a new executive director, begin public input on the best use of the newly acquired Beth Hallel property, as well as continue investment in our existing facilities. The board needs to continue to execute landscape plans at all of our parks, including the initiatives of planting hundreds of trees as it has accomplished over the last few years. My goal is to keep taxes low and finance our future program expansion through user fees and operating debt. I'm happy being of service to the community and would like to continue to serve Wilmette on the Board of Parks. This is why I'm asking for your vote today. I'm Patrick Duffy. I'm first on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Johnson.
Yes, I want to thank you for accommodating my hearing loss and for inviting me today. In conclusion, I want to be part of a board that listens to the residents and responds to emails and public comments, that stays within the budget so taxes don't go up. I want to see transparency and fiscal responsibility instead of closed sessions. I would ask for community involvement with town hall meetings and surveys. Let's go forward to make this an inclusive and responsive community. Thanks. I'm number 5 on the ballot. Nancy Johnson. Please vote for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the candidates for participating and for the audience for showing up. And I'll turn you back to Ann.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you especially to Lisa for moderating not 1 but 2 forums. And thank you so much to all the candidates for coming. I remind you that the recordings are available on the Village of Wilmette website. I don't know how soon, in a couple of days, and also on the League of Women Voters of Wilmette website, lwvwilmette.org. Early voting begins March 17, St. Patrick's Day, and the election day is April 1. A famous day. So thank you all.